Hello, everyone, and welcome to PopCultX Little Talks. It's our conversation series where we dive into the minds of creative people from all walks of life. Whether they're shaping stories, crafting songs, or creating art, we explore what fuels their passions and creativity. Today, we're stepping into the dark, thrilling world of The Death of Snow White, a bold Gothic reimagining of the classic fairy tale. Joining me are two incredible talents who are redefining these iconic characters. First, we have Chelsea Edmundson, whose chilling and complex performance as the evil queen is already generating a lot of buzz. And as Snow White, we have Sanae Loutsis, who delivers a heartfelt and transformative portrayal, breathing new life into this beloved character. Now, I can't wait to hear what it was like bringing these unforgettable characters to life. So, Chelsea, Sanae, welcome to PopCultX.
Thank you.
I watched the trailer several times, not just because I was going to talk to you guys, but because it really had me engaged with it. And unfortunately, that's all I got to see so far. The film comes out in March, everyone. So make sure you mark your calendars to go watch it when it does get released. But I got to know, what was it like? We'll start with you, Sanaya, when you first read the script for this and you saw that it was a darker tone and more intense character development. What was your first reaction to that?
Yeah, I feel like mine was a bit different from everyone else because I was a lot more involved when they were writing the script. So
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't even that I just read it once it was done and like the final draft of it. It was like I watched them do the process of it and I saw like there were a lot of different iterations, honestly.
Okay.
But in each one, like there was just like such an amazing story, which I mean, the heart of it is carried through
Yeah.
every single draft that there were. But I just thought it was like so unique, and I feel like a lot of different elements to the Snow White movie compared to any other version that's ever been made, really. So,
Okay. So you're like, I want it darker, darker. I want to make it.
right? That's what they kept doing, which I was like, I'm here for this, you know?
Okay. And how about you, Chelsea? When you first got the script, what was your reaction to it?
I was here for it. Yeah, I love fairy tales and I really like grim fairy tales and I also like just dark I just like dark twisty things. I just do. So I was all for it. I was like that'll be really fun and cool and that my friend Kaylee, she's a producer on this movie, and she's like, "You have got to play this part. Like, you've got to play the evil queen. Like, it's got to be you." And I didn't want to get my hopes up too high because with acting, that's just the
Yeah.
recipe for disappointment. As Sanaya will tell you, it's like cautiously optimistic, right? That's what I try to be. But I was like, man, that would be the coolest part. Like, maybe I've ever gotten to play if I got that.
Mhm.
And I didn't get to read the full script at first because my audition turnaround was very quick.
Okay.
So, and that happens to us a lot. And I will tell
Mhm.
you that. Like sometimes they're just like, here's the sides. And by the way, we need it like really quickly. And so you just don't always have time to read the full thing. And so I really, but the first scene I read, I was like, oh, I love this so much. Like, I love it. My audition scene was like already me like killing people and stuff. So I was like, this is awesome. And then once, I knew that my audition was sent in, then I read the whole script. And then I was like, I'm glad I didn't read it before because it would have made me probably more nervous. Like they always say you should read scripts before you do an
Yeah.
audition. And so I'm not saying you shouldn't, like, I'm not saying other people should do what I did at all. But in this case, I feel like it was good because had I read it before, I would have been probably feeling a lot of pressure because it is such a good script that I
Mhm.
would have been like, I have to get it. And sometimes that can just make you really not good at auditioning. So it all worked out. But anyway, great script. Fantastic script.
I'm also gonna say, not that I had a say in casting, but from the beginning, like every iteration I read of that script, like I was trying to think, like, oh my gosh, do I know anyone? And immediately Chelsea always came to mind. I knew Chelsea would eat the evil queen role up, and I was so like, I was ecstatic when she actually got cast. I was like, yes, I've been wanting
Yes.
this. It was like as if I made my own fan cast of something that hadn't come out, and then it actually like worked out, and it was great.
That's
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you. We honestly have been really supportive of each other. Like I was like, of course Sanae is playing Snow White. Like she's perfect for that. Like as soon as I found out, I was like, of course, like she's gonna kill that. Like she's
Oh,
perfect for that. So I think we were both excited that we got to do it together because we've been in another movie together before.
Oh,
We were
okay.
when Sanaya was younger. We were did this movie called The Black String together. And how old were you when we did that, Sanaya?
I think I was like 12 or 13, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, you were really young. And so it was very cool to see her now, like all grown up as like an adult and working and like being, such a thoughtful actress. Not that you weren't before, but you were a kid, you were really
Yeah.
young. So that's like, it's been very cool to see that growth and get to work with her now as an adult. It's just really, really fun.
That's
Oh.
cool. That is really cool. Wilson, I read that you shared that Snow White has always been your favorite princess. So, what was it like bringing that personal connection into this more darker, intense version?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's my favorite. I've had a couple people bring it up. I'm not really sure where it came from, but I do really
Ah,
like her, first of
okay.
all. Like it's not like I'm a Snow White hater. She's definitely always been because I just love the classics. I love Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, and then like we get into like the Belle kind of stuff. Like I'm all for it. But no, it was like so special, like because of being such a big Disney fan,
Oh,
have
wow.
been
Okay.
my whole life. And not that like this movie is that close to Disney's, but
Right.
like I have a big appreciation for them kind of bringing up the princesses and bringing those kind of things like more to the public eye.
Mhm.
So like obviously I'll grow up wanting to be like a Disney princess, but the more I've grown up, the more I'm like, well, I don't need to be a Disney princess, but it's cool to be able to play a princess. Really, I mean, I like what we've done with the death of Snow White and her character. It's just a lot more complex than,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of other iterations have been. So it's just like unique and it's fun to be able to dive into like, oh, royalty. I love it.
It's also neat to see you play a princess because as an older actress, not that I'm old, but quite a bit older than Sanaya, like there's only so many years you can play a princess, like I'm not gonna play a princess now. I'm an evil queen, and it's like you're only gonna have so many years that you get to play a princess. Like, so I'm excited that you get to check that off your box because not everybody gets to do that, and it's like you'll always be able to be like, I played a princess and it was great.
I'm sure there's
Totally.
plenty of princess roles out there for both of you, no matter
Yeah, we
what age.
gotta make like a princess role for you now. Like, and it like plays on that trope. Like, oh
It
yeah,
should be like
but
I'm the princess that just still like hasn't totally gotten it together, She's like a free spirit.
yeah, no, you could be like a total like badass single princess. Like, you just like don't even want any of these like guys.
Yeah, she's like not here for, I guess that's kind of like Emma, the play Emma. Like, isn't that I just watched
Oh,
that the other day. Isn't that kind of, well, she's not a princess, but she's like a
similar
some
vibe.
some
Yeah.
kind of royalty or like, yeah, I love that. I just watched the one with who's the girl from Queen's Gambit that we all love. Everyone loves her right
Oh,
now.
Anya Taylor-Joy,
Joy. Yeah.
Yes, she
Queen.
just she did a version of it and
Hmm.
it was really good. She's really, really
Wow.
good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, so with Snow White, she was described as both a survivor with strength and vulnerability. Now, did you do anything to help, or how did you approach balancing those qualities in the character and in your performance?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, those are like great descriptors of her, honestly. And I think really that's strongly shown in like the progression of the story. So like
Oh,
it
okay.
starts off and life's somewhat chill, we're just kind of like she's at the fair having fun with her friends, and the evil queen, she's not vibing with that. She's like, I wish you weren't so happy, actually. And as the story goes on, some people die. And kind of with that, like I think people grow most when they have traumatic experiences, as traumatic
Mhm.
as they are, but kind of gives you character, which sounds bad, but it's very true.
Snow
Um,
White goes through a lot of personal growth.
yeah, yeah. And so I think like with that, she grows and has a lot more grit by the end of the movie, and um, just like that's where her strength really like shows. At the beginning, I mean, not that she's not. She's very much a princess of the people and just, but you don't get the opportunity to see that aspect of her as much
Hmm.
as you do by the end of the film. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
also think it's cool, like the way you played your character, that not it's like you didn't try to do this like tough, like badass thing, and that's what makes her strong, you know? And I feel like we see that a lot, and it is kind of becoming a trope at this point. The version of
Yeah.
everything where the girl has to like all of a sudden now she's in combat boots and she's like shooting people, and that's what makes a strong woman. And I feel like we've seen that for like 15 years now, and it's just refreshing. Sanaya, the way that she plays Snow White, she is strong, but she's feminine. So she is this she's a complex character, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact that she's a strong character, but also feminine. I don't think we see that enough.
totally.
It's interesting. Like you played
Yeah,
her very interesting, and I like that.
That you see that. I actually like Snow White, she's just a very like emotionally sensitive character. Like I actually do like I don't know if you guys know like the Myers-Briggs tests thing.
Yes. What are you?
I did it for Snow White, and so she's a console,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
very like they're very emotional types and they're very emotionally driven. So I kind of wanted to like portray that within the role as well. So it's not like a change in physical strength by any means, but she definitely has like a stronger will by the end of the
Yeah.
movie, and that's what drives her. And so that's where you see that bigger change. And I like doing those kind of things for characters because I'm like, well, I think they're accurate in real life, so I'm gonna do it for my character.
I'm shook that you did a Myers-Briggs for your character and very impressed. And I'm going to do that
Yeah.
one day. That is so cool. Like, that is so, so cool.
That is interesting. That is cool. Talk about taking it to the next level there. My goodness. That's really
Yeah, that's
cool.
a really good
All those
idea.
algorithms to do my job. No.
Sometimes I think about, do you ever think about what astrology sign your character is, Sanaya?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm
I
not
think
like
about
well
that a
versed in it, but I
lot.
definitely am like, she's giving like, I don't know, energy.
I think that the evil queen is like an Aries sun, you know, like the ram. Like she's like, I'm just gonna get it.
Whoa,
You know, she's like gonna just get things done. Or maybe a
totally.
Taurus, but I think she's like Cancer in a lot of ways too, like a Cancer moon, because she's just really just emotionally like upset a lot by things.
Yeah.
She's just a lot going on.
Well, speaking of the evil queen, Chelsea, in the trailer they showed some, I guess what you call like historical beauty rituals, right? So,
Yes.
how did those intense scenes shape the way you approach the queen's obsession with both beauty and power?
That was one of my favorite things about this script. I felt like it was so timely with all of the beauty rituals and the extremes that she's going to and the pressure that she feels to look a certain way. And I actually find that part of her to be very relatable as like an actress in my late 30s. Like, I'm actually not in my late 30s yet, but I like to think ahead so that I'm not like disappointed. Like I'm like, I already think of myself as 40 and I'm not even close, but I'm just doing that so that when it happens, it's not a big deal. Anyway, I find it in the industry that we're in, we're under so much pressure. And I think women just feel that way in general a lot, not even just in our industry, you know, where it's like amplified. And I also feel like nowadays we're in this time of constant changing technology with beauty. Like there's just always something
Mhm.
new coming out that's like crazy that you can do. And so I feel like it's very timely because it's like, where does it end? You know,
Yeah.
and I just got a CO2 facial. Okay. So it's not like I'm not on a soapbox. I just got my whole face burned off at Christmas. But I do think about it a lot. I'm like, where's it gonna end? Like at what point am I gonna be like, okay, like it's enough, like that's probably as good as it's, you know, gonna get. And like it's at some point it's crossing over into like kind of a mental illness, like when it's like too much of an obsession.
Mhm.
And the evil queen's like
Mhm.
way over that line.
Yeesh.
You know, she's willing to do anything and hurt anyone to look, it's beautiful, to stay beautiful. And I don't know, I just really found that to be interesting with just my age and like everything going on in the world today. And I don't know. There's other movies coming out kind of like that, like the Demi Moore movie. Gosh, I'm blanking on titles. What's the movie she just did?
Substance.
The
And what she was
Substance.
nominated for,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like people are wanting to have this conversation like right now. Like, when is it too much? When is it over the line? And I'm really excited that I hope our movie gets to kind of be a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think you brought like a lot of really good like vulnerability to the role too, because like obviously like usually it's a very much like a character archetype of like the evil queen and they're just evil. But like, she has a lot of like inner demons in her life, you know?
Mhm.
It's a little more complicated than like she just wants everyone else to be miserable. Like, no, like
Like,
he's
why is she this way? Because women are not like that for no reason.
exactly.
Yes,
It's
I
so
thought
good.
about it a lot. Like, I definitely was like, I wonder if this happened to her. I wonder if this happened. Like, I would think about it a lot because I'm like, she's not just like this.
Right,
You
Exactly.
know,
right.
there's no way.
Well, the director did mention that when you put on that crown, Chelsea, that you became the evil queen. So, what was it about the costume, the makeup, or just stepping onto set that helped you fully embody her?
I think it just everything. I'm really big on costumes and makeup and stuff. Even when I do auditions, I go out as full out as I can. I'm like, even for my audition, I had a corset on and I did the best that I could with what I had, like what I would wear to a Ren fair probably. So I'm a big fan of that anyway. Like that always helps me. And I really am a big fan of hair and makeup and I'm a big fan of costumes because I feel like they are such a big part of what we do as actors. Um, and the costumes were just awesome. Like they're just very detail oriented. Some of them have separate pieces that were ordered and made by artists on Etsy that were combined with our costumers actually like sewing things on my body at times, and it was just this beautiful detailed costume. I wear a metal corset at one point, which was real. And let me tell you, that is no joke. I don't ever want to wear that again. Like it was crazy.
Can you
Um,
can you tell me? I know when we led leading up to this interview, you mentioned a little bit about that corset and how it maybe
it made my
restructured your
armpits
bones.
bleed, Danny. It made my armpits bleed. I'm
So bad. I felt so bad when that was happening. I was like, no,
It
Chelsea.
was crazy. I was like, where's the blood coming from? Like, where's the blood? Where's the blood? And it was just like so tight that it was just
Wow.
rubbing raw and it was like metal. It
Oh
did have a
goodness.
lining, but it was, I mean, it's not wearing pajamas. It's not sweatpants,
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of what she wore too, there's a posture to it. Like, it's just not going to look good on you if you're not good posture, good queenly,
Mm,
the way that you
okay.
walk, the way you move, it's just
Mhm.
not going to look good. And at the end of the day, like a fashion girly too, and I want to look good even by my own vanity. So there's like some of it that like just makes you more queenly because you have to do it for the fit. Like you have to work the costume,
And you
because
so
otherwise
did. Like,
you're
I
not get
remember
you're
like
not doing the costumers you're doing them a disservice if you're not working the costume.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember like the first time you walked out in like the main like final outfit and everyone was just like, oh my God. Like, and you just like look so good. It was like, I don't know. You couldn't even
Oh,
like, I wasn't even like evil queen in a way. I was just like, you just look really like hot. Like you look fire. Like,
thank you. Thank you.
Like the beauty practices are working.
Yes, I'm like all these killing people, it's paying off. Like it's so worth it.
so good.
We also had like amazing hair and beauty makeup on it. And like like Naomi was so good and she did Naomi did your makeup too, right?
Yeah, Naomi did my makeup. They're
Yeah,
really
she did
good.
our makeup and she's amazing. Like she's not gonna let you go out and look bad.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
not, and
Mhm.
so I feel like she had a lot of fun with my makeup too because I'm the evil queen. So it was like kind of metallic-y, like, and
Yeah.
it was really beautiful. I'll never be able to do it myself, so I'll never look that way again. But she's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, also beyond the costumes, the set design, and the practical effects used in the movie, how was that like when you stepped onto those sets with their was it the dark immersive world that it created?
Well, Sanaya got to be in a lot more sets. I'm not in as many because the queen is like
In her
really
castle.
hunkered down a lot. I'm not in as many different things. Sanaya really got to experience like being our protagonist, like all the sets, which which are really cool. I mean, some of it I've only seen on film. Like I didn't even get to go, but she got to go to all of them, and some of them are really cool.
Yeah,
What was it
no,
like stepping into those worlds then, Sanaya?
it was like so cool, especially because, like I said, and I told you before this interview, a lot of the sets are literally in my backyard. So it was like really trippy to like walk outside, and
Oh.
there were like these kind of like curtains, I guess, that kind of blocked like
Hmm.
where you could obviously you don't want to see like our house in the background. That would be weird, it doesn't really fit the vibe. So obviously I couldn't see too much. So then as soon as you open the curtains, and the first day we filmed was at the fair, and it was just like, oh, this is like legit. Like this is like giving like a real like Renaissance fair. Like, I just stepped into like the 16th, 15th century, whatever.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
it
It's
was
the Ren Fair in your yard.
like literally, and like they had a lot of like real people that like work at Ren fairs that were there and like donated their time and like supplies to show up, and like so it
Cool.
looked like really real because a lot of it was really real. And then like the castle was also in our backyard, and I was just like,
The
oh,
castle's amazing. The
it's
castle is
insane.
it's insane.
Yeah, my brother and his family, they live on the same property. And they have two little boys, my little nephews. And it was really funny because they kept telling people at school, like, oh yeah, we have a castle at our house. And like the teachers, they'd be like,
What?
yeah, they're like concerned. And then my sister-in-law would be like, no, like they're telling
There
the
is a
truth,
castle.
and then the whole story, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you have to tell us when it comes out, blah blah blah. But it's
That's
really
fun.
funny.
We have a castle in our backyard.
Aren't they in
Yeah.
the movie? Don't they make a cameo in the movie or no?
No, I think
Oh, okay.
there's talk about it, but my brother's pretty shy. We're kind of like opposites. So yeah, he was like not super into having any of his family in it, but I was
I
like,
gotcha. I
yeah.
gotcha.
Well, I'm really looking forward to watching the whole film, but what I did see in the trailer, the action sequences look pretty intense. So, Sanaya, how was it like? Did you have to train for the fight choreography or any of the more of the physically demanding scenes?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to like spoil too much, but
Yeah.
honestly, Snow White, like I said, she's not like she's a very emotional person. She's not as um physically like demanding, I
Okay.
guess, as a
Okay.
role.
Hmm.
But she's definitely around for a lot of it. And I know there was a lot of like, especially like the Prince and the Little People cast, the Seven Dwarfs. They had like crazy choreo, and
Yeah.
I would be there, but I would just watch them do it, and I was
Hmm.
like,
Whoa.
the amount of times they would have to like run rehearsals and stuff. It was like, I'm used to very like small indie films, and we like run it a couple times and like, okay, let's go, guys. This was not that really. I mean, we're still a small indie film, but everyone there was so professional. Like, there was one scene at the end of the film that I am walking through the chaos, and obviously like you can't just walk through people fighting or else like you'll get hit. So like we had to like count it off, and it was
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
literally like clockwork. It was like crazy, and I was stressed out and I was just walking,
It's
and
a beautiful shot. It
it's
is a
really
beautiful
cool.
shot.
Yeah. But
Give me very 1917 vibes of that movie
yes,
where he's walking
very
along the
much.
field and everything going off around him. That sounds cool.
Yes.
We also have the Seattle Knights in our movie, and they
Yes.
are these people that really do like medieval fight reenactments with real broadswords, and
Oh,
they
wow.
like ride real horses and do this stuff, and they perform at Ren fairs a lot.
Hmm.
And they were gracious enough to be in our movie, and the scenes that they're in, they just go to town because they do this stuff all the time. So you're like, holy cow! It's like we had to be like really careful on set because they're swinging real swords. So it's like anyone there has to be a big distance when they yell
Yeah.
action when the Seattle Knights are on set. But they were really really cool, and it was fun, really fun to watch them.
No,
That
it was
sounds
like
fun.
amazing. I don't know about you, Chelsea, but like even when I wouldn't like really need to be there, like I'd always be like watching still. Like I just like
Yeah,
took my eyes away. I was like, I want to see this stuff. Like this is really cool, even though I'm not like there.
totally. I was always super anxious to get on makeup and stuff so that I could get down there and maybe get to see something else before
Right.
my coverage. I'm like, I want to go and see what's going on.
Yeah.
That I find it interesting. So here, you guys have such a great friendly vibe. When you were filming, did you do anything to, not have that vibe? Because,
No,
the historical
no,
context between Snow White and Evil Queen is not very friendly. So,
no.
no,
We
okay.
didn't do that. I know that people do that, and I always like hearing stories like that about actors. But Sanae and I didn't do that.
Okay.
No.
You're
Yeah,
like,
we
no.
We
actually,
just like, I don't know. We would be joking around like in between takes and
yeah.
stuff. But I feel like we're both pretty, like, we kind of both did this thing where, like, I don't know, maybe Sanae, tell me if you remember this, but like 2 or 3 seconds before, we're just both kind of like,
Literally,
like
yeah.
we just kind of like
It's
calm
like
and
a
quiet
moment
and
of getting
stare at.
back into the characters and then like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's like what we need. We need like a good like 3 Mississippi count and then eye
Yeah.
contact, and then we're like, all right, let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
No, and I think we talked about it on set too, but we had like a whole discussion about like method acting and that whole world and kind of
Mhm.
like our perspective as like women in it. And I don't know, like there's a lot of male method
Yeah,
actors. I'm
that's
just gonna
true.
say that. I don't hear about as many
Yeah.
female method
I
actors.
feel like men are fortunate enough to be catered to a lot as actors with method things. Like some of the things that I hear about men doing as method actors, I'm like, that shit would never fly. Like for me to do that, they'd be like, she's difficult. She's
Yeah,
so,
that's
like
very
you wouldn't
true.
have a good reputation. You wouldn't be considered easy, which is like a thing that everybody wants actresses to be. Like, Snia and I had this whole topic about how a lot of method acting is really kind of gendered. Like it's very
That's
like,
very
especially
true.
if you're a
Mhm.
mom, like, and this is no shade to some amazing male actors that are method, but like I'm not a mom yet, but I'm just like, when you hear stories about someone pretending to be like their character for 6 months or something, I'm like, you can't do that if you're a mother. You
Mhm.
Yeah.
can't go home and be like, no, you're going to call me, like I'm doing this. You guys need to support me. Like, that's not going to happen.
Mhm.
So we talk about that a lot, that's very, like, for me, sometimes there's little things I'll do to help myself, but I'm really not big on it impeding on crew or my cast in any way. Like I feel like if somebody's method is like slowing down production,
Yeah,
making it hard for crew
yeah,
members to do their work or other actors, then I just think it's kind of stupid.
yeah.
Definitely. And like ultimately, like the hot take is that our job is acting, and if you're method acting and you're in the character the whole time, you're not really acting, you just became the character, period. Like you just
Yeah.
it's your own personality. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the hot
I I enjoy being myself when I'm not working.
exactly.
I like me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like me.
Very cool. Well, that's good to hear. I like that. That's good to hear. Okay, so let's lighten the mood a little bit here. So let's say you could take your character out of this dark fantasy world and drop them into another genre, right? So like a modern thriller or some sci-fi epic. What do you think Snow White or the Evil Queen, where would you want to put them into?
That's such a fun question. Hmm.
For me, I'm gonna go like big comedy for sure.
That would be so fun.
Get a
Like I would,
hangover type movie with the Evil Queen.
yeah, yeah,
I could see that.
yes, that. Good job.
There you go. I'm
That's
already
it. It's the
picturing it.
Hangover. It's the Evil Queen.
Hmm. Oh, that's so difficult. I feel like, I mean, like the obvious, like easy one, which in some ways she's already in it, would be like a rom-com because I love a
I
good
could see
rom-com.
that. I
And
do
I'm
too,
like,
and I could see that for Snow White.
yeah, she would love that. But what would be
Mhm.
really interesting to see would be like a zombie movie because I don't know. Like, I just feel like she would be like really like I don't know, she would be trying to make friends with zombies and then someone would have to be like, Snow, like you can't do that. Like you're gonna be a zombie then. She's like,
Snow would be trying to make friends with the zombies. She'd be like, we have to help them. Well, like there has to be something we can do, and the evil queen's just like, where's the torch? Like
yeah, literally. Like I feel like that would be kind of entertaining.
that would be Snow White. Yes, the death of Snow White plus zombies needs to be the sequel. Like that's just what it says. Like in my opinion, like plus, like we just do kind of the same thing, but next time there's just zombies. Like I'm in.
I love
That
it. We don't even need to explain, honestly. Like they're just there.
Yeah.
They were always there. We just never saw them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the magic, guys. It's a
Can we add them in post? Is it too late?
Yes, the zombies will be the dwarves, like Disney. Oop.
Oh yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys have like a personal favorite dark fantasy or horror film that when you're in the mood for something more intense and atmospheric that you love to watch?
I don't love to watch it a lot because it's like a lot to watch, but I think Pan's Labyrinth is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Like that is like the most beautiful dark fantasy movie I think I've ever seen. Like in that category that you're describing, like I just think that movie's incredible, but I can't watch it all the time because it's intense. It's like I think I've only watched it one time, honestly. I need to watch it at least one more time.
Me too.
But
I've seen it once.
Yeah, it's a hard watch, but man, is that an amazing movie. It's so good.
Yeah, that and like the Dark Crystal, like the vibes in those movies like are just like so good. Like
the Dark Crystal is the best. Yes. I'm so glad you love that movie. That is such a good movie. Yeah. Have you seen the show yet? There's a show now.
That's right. There is a show. Yeah.
They just made an episodic. I didn't know about this till like 3 days ago. My brother's like, how are you not watching this? Because we were obsessed with the movie. And I'm like, what? So we both need to watch it because it's a show.
Definitely. I'm so down.
So without spoiling anything for the film, what can you guys tease a scene or a moment where you think the audiences will be completely shocked?
I think that there is, I don't know if I'd call it a twist, but there's just a big through line within the story that has to do a lot with loss. There's a big thing of loss in the movie, and it's hard to figure out. I definitely don't want to say too much because obviously,
I try to soften you up.
Like that's kind of a big deal. But I think there's just kind of some elements that are so unlike any other iteration of Snow White in that area that I think will be kind of a big twist in a way. Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. And I also think like the dwarves too, in a way. Like they just kind of go against everything that you kind of expect them to be, I guess.
Yeah.
And they have like such strong characters. So I think maybe also them.
Yeah, they are. I saw listed as assassins. So that's very interesting to see how that will come across. I mean,
they definitely live up to that. So,
are we talking about the actors that play the dwarfs?
Yes,
they're amazing.
They're so good.
Their characters are really, really fun. They have really fun weapons. I think that people are going to be individually huge fans of different ones, which is going to be fun to see. Like, I think people will have their favorites because their characters are just they've built their characters completely different, and I think that's going to be really fun to see. And it's going to be fun for them to experience that too. Cause like, who wouldn't want to be someone's favorite to be like, a lot of people like me and I play this one. Right. And I feel like that's going to happen a lot.
Yeah. It's going to cause them to argue, honestly, but I'm here for it. Like, they're going to be like, no, I'm
everyone's favorite. We need to do a poll. Like, so just settle it once and for all. Like all the test audiences have to say their favorite, and then we have to tell them.
So good.
Well, sure. Create more animosity there. Why not?
Low key, I'm here for the drama.
Just to stir up some chaos.
Yes.
But it's fun because they work as a team. So it's like, and their characters are so different that you kind of have to have a favorite, right? Like
Yeah.
I have to decide who my favorite is.
Who your favorite henchman is in the movie, or who your favorite assassin is?
Oh, my favorite henchman, that would be hard. The henchmen are super fun too. Like all my minions are great.
Awesome.
It was fun to have minions. It was really, really fun. I'm not gonna lie.
You get home after set and you're like, darn it, I don't have my minions here anymore.
I'm like, who's gonna bring me my bathrobe when I get out of the bathtub?
You just stand there with your arm outstretched, waiting.
Exactly.
Very fun.
I'm like, who's gonna make me food? I don't do that.
Well, one last question for you guys, and just to keep it more on the lighthearted theme, it's the "Would you rather" fairy tale edition question.
Ooh.
So
Fun. You're asking really fun. Like, this is fun, by
Yes.
the way.
that's what I try to do. Keep it fun here. That's, why not? Now, would you rather live in a creepy haunted castle where you rule as queen, but you can never leave, or survive in a dark, dangerous forest with 7 bloodthirsty assassins?
But the assassins are my friends.
7 bloodthirsty assassins. Whether or not you win them over as your friends, that's I guess dependent upon you.
I'm gonna take my chances in the forest. I can't be fenced in like that.
I feel like I want to say the forest, but also knowing me, like I'm such a homebody, like I probably would just stay in the castle.
I love that we're opposite of what our characters are doing.
That is so cool.
It is a nice castle. I mean, there are worse places that you could be imprisoned for sure.
Yeah,
You could do a lot. You could do a lot worse.
exactly. Like you got space, so
You have space.
yeah.
You can invite friends over, maybe.
I'd just be like vibing in there. I'd be like, "This is my own little world, guys. You probably don't even want to come in."
It does have a great bathtub. I'll say that. It's got a great tub.
Exactly.
Cloth, big tub. It's gold.
With or without the leeches, right?
Yeah. That's
Well,
like
I
a
guess-
crazy thing people used to really do, the leeches. There's all of the beauty practices for my character. They tried to base them off of things that people really did throughout history. So like Lady Bathory and that whole thing, and like leeches and stuff. They tried to make it where it was either a common practice or a historical figure that we know of did these things, which I found to be really interesting reading the script and developing the character. Because you could Google it and like find who did it.
Yeah.
Or when it was popular, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. People used to really put those all over their body.
And people still do sometimes, right? I mean, I think it is a medical practice thing now where they use it to help stimulate blood flow to tissue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been bitten by a leech?
No.
I have once, and it was horrible. Yeah. And it was tiny. It was a super small one. And it got on my toe on a canoe trip. And they have like a venom type thing that it's not just a bite, like it puts like a blood thinner. So it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. And I think I was allergic to it or something. Like my toe, yeah, it was bad. It was a bad deal. So we were like joking about it when they glued them all over my body. I was like, if this was real, this would suck really, really bad. I can assure you guys of that. Would be horrible.
So you didn't have like any sort of traumatic, like PTSD type moment there?
No, but I will say that when the leeches were happening, they kept popping off. So it was just constant people sticking them back on me. And I've said this in other interviews, but I'll say it again. Evil Queen is a role that if it's going to bother you that people are just around you like all the time and touching you, it's not the role for you, because there was just constant things that needed to be like glued back on, and I made peace with it. I was just like, everyone's gluing things on me. Like I got into like a thing where I was just like fine with it. But I was telling my mom about it, and she's kind of claustrophobic, and she's like, that would probably really start to, kind of like wear on me. And yeah, I could see that. I could see it, but I was fine.
Okay. No allergic reactions, no venom attached to your body.
No, I was in very good hands, literally.
Well, very fun, very fun. Well, thank you both so much for giving us such an incredible look behind the scenes of the death of Snow White, from the visuals to your performances. I can't wait for this film to come out. I'm really a fan of the more darker fantasy movies, so this fits right into what I enjoy. So, Chelsea, Sanae, thank you so much for coming on to PopCultX, and we look forward to March when it does get released and seeing how you truly redefine these iconic characters.
Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you for asking such fun
Danny.
questions.
No, this was so much fun. I loved all the questions. Yeah,
Thank you, guys.